Bum, 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 we go to my channel. Go to my channel live. I forgot to change the info. Okay, there's that, and here we go to that. Okay, so if you want to watch the video, then go to.
I guess I'm thinking
Oops,
about the.
hold on. If you want to watch the video, it's right there. Hank and Bernie talk about AI for real. Okay? And it's again by Hank Green. 167,000 views in 5 hours, 1,500 comments. So this is alive. This is This is a thing. This is important. This needs to be seen. This needs to be known. And blah blah blah. Anyways, um, I'm going to react to it. Oh shit. Oh yeah, and I'm going to hold on. I forgot. What's up, guys? This is Ninja on a Ninja, and just to explain myself, again, what I do is I stream and then I record a video while I'm streaming, and then I will conclude the video, but I will continue streaming, right? That's it. Okay, so basically, I watched I think 6 minutes, not even somewhere around here. I watched a few minutes. I stopped, and the reason why is because I'm tired of hearing this talking point being made because there's nothing behind it. It's a fear that they're pushing, but they don't understand what they're talking about. And I'm trying to explain it to you. So that's why I'm going to watch this video right now. But yeah. So previously, on another video I just uploaded, I've realized that people watch people because they can't. They're too what's the word I'm looking for? Insecure. They're basically not adults, and they can't sit down and listen to reality. They need to have it spoon fed, right? And that's what people do for the most part. And that's what I'm doing. But I'm doing it in a way where I'm not kissing your ass. I'm not trying to make you like me. I'm not putting on makeup and dressing up and trying to look pretty so that you watch me. I'm just saying what needs to be said and what you need to hear, and you need to just take it and learn that this is reality. This is the world. Stop living the life that they want you to live. Live in the real world, right? You have to meet Democrats. I'm sorry, you have to meet Republicans, basically, in the real world, okay? And Republicans need to meet Democrats in, what's it called? In the middle, basically, okay? So, anyways, um, I'll just, yeah, I'm responding to this video. Uh, I showed you the video. Hank and Bernie talk about AI, and uh, I don't know what to call the little line that's curved for real. Anyways, let's get into it.
I can't stop thinking about the fact that we are currently in the middle of one of the most significant, most disruptive communications revolutions in the history of our species. It's
We're actually not, by the way.
the one that invented from scratch the whole idea of many-to-many communication, and it's been extremely disruptive. And I think it's going to be more
Not
disruptive
really.
by the time we actually figure out how to handle it. And yet also, we are simultaneously introducing another revolution, and this one with impacts on communication, yes, but also on labor and on biotech and on who knows what else. That seems like a lot. I'm worried about that. I think that we have a lot of things going
I don't
for
know
us,
why.
but I think that when you introduce two destabilizing things at the same time,
It's not destabilizing. It is as far as like your uptake, for example. But there's people like me that understand it. I can explain it if you shut up and listen, but you don't do that. That's the problem.
it's not always great what comes out of it. Now, I don't actually think that we've done a super great job of labeling that first revolution. Like, it's just been sort of ever present. And a lot of people, I don't think, even feel like it's been that big of a deal. It's just the internet, after all. It's just Facebook. Can't be that big of a deal. What is that compared to the giant leaps of air travel or electricity? But I find myself continually reminding people that communication is the only thing that is actually special about humans. Like, that's the thing we're good at, is transmitting a lot of information very quickly. And so when there are communications revolutions, it tends to be a bigger...
I don't understand that point that you're making. Um, we transfer a lot of stuff. That's what monkeys do as well. What we do with the language is what they do as well. It's just ours is more advanced. And all we're doing is advancing it. I don't understand how that matters though.
deal than when there are revolutions, even in something as important as the amount of power that we can harness or the kinds of weapons that we have. After all, people sharing information with each other is why we have electricity. It's why we have airplanes. It's also why we have war and how we find peace. You, yourself, is constructed entirely out of human communication. Like, a little bit of it is the stuff going on in your head, but not most of it. But this new one, this one that really is only, as far as it having a big impact on how people are acting in their daily lives, really only a couple of years old, we have a name for that. It's going to be AI. And that one is stacking on top of this other one, which we're not through. We haven't figured it out yet. We are still living through the negative impacts of it. I have every confidence that someday we'll be like, yes, it was worth it to go through that hard part.
And what do you keep looking at? Stop it.
We're not there. We're in the hard part. And it may be...
I don't see what the hard part is. Explain that.
That we're not even in the middle of the hard part. We might be in the beginning. Or we might be in the end. I don't know. It honestly, a lot of it depends on how we as individuals act in this situation. So I'm not sure I feel great about how we've done it so far. Anyway,
I will say that I will say that a lot of our suffering is a result of people living their life and living it in a way that benefits them and costs others. But that has nothing to do with technology. That's been a problem forever. Even when we were living in castles, right? Let them eat cake. That's what this is. It's the same fucking thing.
We're going to make it through this, but this level of disruption ain't easy. And it's all happening very quickly. figuring out how to deal with that is going to take a lot of work and
Not
a lot
really.
of thought. Having
Not
two
really.
big world-shaking changes stack up on top of each other, that freaks me out. It could go a lot of different ways.
That's you,
One
buddy.
thing I hear a lot is, I wish the government would figure out how to regulate these things better. But good Lord, I do not know what that actually.
As far as government regulation, you need to be careful with that because that's called living under control. We are not that. We are free to do what we want. You are just insecure and need daddy to come save you. But for me, who is an adult and I can handle it, don't want that because I'm not afraid like you, little boy.
Actually looks like. So, when I got an email from Bernie Sanders, who has recently introduced legislation to put a moratorium on the construction of new data centers, I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess, let's talk. At the moment, no one expects this legislation to get anywhere or be passed or anything like that.
I don't understand the point of holding off on them. I don't.
But it's an interesting statement to say, maybe we could slow this thing down a little bit. And so,
Data centers, by the way. I don't know why we would slow them down. Yes, they're taking up a lot of resources. That is true. But, like, if they're managing, then what's the point? Or what's the problem, rather?
oh, here's a quick chat with me and Bernie. It was very weird for me. I hope I did okay. I am sure people will be mad at me for something. I talked to a lot of people about this topic and the potential implications of AI. There seems to be as many perspectives as there are people I talk to. There are lots of different potential impacts in a lot of different directions, and they're all very shrouded and unclear. Some people think that it's not that big of a deal. Some people think humanity is about to end. Clearly, you have some level of concern here. Since we're not going to talk about all of the concerns,
I got sidetracked.
some people think that it's not that big of a deal. Some people think humanity is about to end. Clearly, you have some level of concern here. Since we're not going to talk about all of the concerns that you have, I was wondering if you could give me your top number one Bernie Sanders concern about AI.
Well, first of all, I think the point you just made is correct. Nobody, this thing is moving so fast. And it is so consequential that nobody can tell you what is going to happen.
I can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the first point to be made is that the AI robotics revolution will be far more consequential and moving faster than any economic revolution in the history of humanity.
Not true.
It will make the Industrial Revolution seem kind of insignificant. You're asking me what my concerns are. Well, I start off with the concern that I don't trust the multi-billionaires who are pushing.
That's the problem. The AI isn't. It's the rich that are doing it. That's the problem.
AI and robotics. We're talking about the wealthiest people in the world: Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg,
Right.
Ellison,
Right.
Thiel, and others. And the very first question, I think, Hank, that we've got to ask ourselves is, what is their goal? What is their goal? And the answer is pretty obvious. They're not staying up nights worrying about working families or what the impact on the average American will be from this revolution. They want
Right.
more wealth. They want more power.
Right.
That concerns me very much.
They
Right.
also want to live forever, is the other thing that they.
Oh, now
they
you're
think
raising a whole other issue, actually.
They think that they may be.
Bernie sounds like me. I swear to God. There are so many points. I'll be talking to other people, and I'll be like, dude, you're splitting hairs here. You're splitting hairs here. You're making different argument, different point. Like, he is only able to do this because he's smart. So
Be buying themselves perpetual power forever through all eternity.
That is a whole other issue.
right.
Maybe we get into another. You're in the crazy world, but there's truth to what you're saying. I mean, you hear
True.
people like Musk himself saying that, AI and robotics is going to wipe out all work, all jobs.
Okay.
So what the hell happens to millions of people who no longer have work or can't find other jobs? What happens?
What's his name? That was talking about people should just get, here is your paycheck, and that's the end of it. you should go to school to learn how to take care of robots. So if something happens, we can call on you and you can do the job. But other than that, you just live your life, do what you want.
Happens if people are not paying taxes? There is no Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. What happens if there is no government? Which, by the way, gets to your point about the vision of some of these guys. But that's another story.
Right?
And then the other issue out there that worries me very much,
Don't see
and
it.
I've talked to people like Jeffrey Hinton and others.
Okay.
Jeffrey Hinton is considered to be one of the godfathers of AI, a guy who helped create the technology.
Okay.
He worries that within a few years, AI will become smarter
Nope.
than human beings,
Nope.
may in fact disassociate itself from human control
Nope.
with
Nope.
potentially cataclysmic impacts on humanity.
That will happen without the intelligence. You understand? You're worried about AI becoming smarter than humans. It won't. Humans will become stupider than AI, but AI will not be smarter than humans. As in, the bar is set. AI cannot cross over, right? Humans have dropped below the bar, but the bar is still where it's at. Just because you're stupid doesn't mean the bar has changed. Understand? That's the point. AI can't cross the bar, okay? But evil people or rich people can. For example, we're bombing people in Iran and stuff. It's already happening. You're so worried about AI causing all of these problems. It's already happening. Okay? Just because it's not you, that's the difference. That you're worried that's gonna happen to you now. That's kind of what's going on. It's not really that it will happen because it is happening, but it happening to you is the difference. Okay? It's the rich that have all of the power, and what they do, if they decide to take AI down that route, we're fucked. But again, the focus is on the rich, not the AI. Leave AI out of this. AI is innocent.
including the survival of the human race. Other than that, not a big deal.
Hinton's what they call P-doom, because of course they have to shorten the idea of the apocalypse to something that sounds vaguely computer programmery. Is like 10 to 20%. He says that there's a 10 to 20% chance that it wipes us out.
Nope.
Which I don't know.
AI won't.
That seems.
AI won't, but Trump's cabinet will.
It seems to me like the thing to focus on are the things that
And they will use AI to do it.
we can see with a little more clarity, which you outlined some good versions of.
Stop blaming AI. It's the same thing as back in the day. And back in the day, I didn't have a voice. I was still going to school and I was still trying to become who I am today, right? And so now I can. Unfortunately, it was put on the burner because of brain surgery. I've had a stroke. I've been through all of these kind of problems, but I'm able to I'm still better than people for some reason. Like, that's my point. AI isn't smarter than people. It's people are dumber than AI. People are more stupid than they used to be. We're starting to reach the point where people are starting to become as smart as they were back in the day when, what's it called? Enlightenment happened. Do you remember that? Back in those days, that's where we're at right now. We're starting to revert back to those times.
I hear some people saying, you don't want to, like, if you believe in this, you're believing their, like, their hype machine. They're just trying to sell investors on the power of their technology by sort of mixing together some amount of all jobs are going to go away, and also maybe it will turn us into paperclips. But you shake your head at that.
Look, I think the evidence is very clear. This is an explosive, transformational technology. I don't think anyone doubts that. I mean, there are people who disagree as to how quickly it transforms the economy, how many jobs will be lost next year or in 5 years, how quickly
Nice edit, by the way.
it transforms the economy, How many jobs have we lost? People who disagree as to how quickly it
Do you see it?
transforms the economy. How many jobs have we lost next year or in 5 years? But I don't think anyone
Hit it again.
doubts the enormous impact that this is going to have on human society. And the
Cool.
reason I got involved in it is I look at my colleagues in the Senate and the House, and I say, all right, you mentioned, well, maybe it's only a 10% chance that humanity will be wiped out. Hey, what's the problem? You might want to be saying,
AI will not be terminated, or I'm sorry, humanity will not be terminated with AI. The rich might terminate AI with the humanity with AI, though.
excuse me, that's a little bit too high.
By the way, that's happening now. Look at Yemen. Look at the war. They're trying to bring it here. They're starving people in America. Why? Why does what's it called, Elon Musk have all of the money in the world, and yet there's people starving? What's going on? Why does that problem exist? That's what we should be focused on. AI is not the problem here.
Let's slow it up. Let's figure out how we can use AI to benefit humanity,
Right.
not to wipe it out. What
Right.
has bothered me is how slow-moving the Congress has been, and a lot of that has to do with the enormous amount of campaign contributions and the economic and the political power that the AI industry has.
Right, it's the corruption, right? You gotta whittle that down. Like, you're using a broad term to explain something, but at the end of the day, it's corruption. Corruption is slowing down the process because it's paying off people. And like, yeah, whatever. I get a nice boat. I get to live my life fat. I get young girls. Like, that's why the Jeffrey Epstein thing happened. I get this. I get that. Why do I care? That's what it is.
There's so much power.
Even I have been targeted by people that, like, these young girls are trying to talk to me and tell me, oh, make videos of saying that you want to fuck me and that you want to do stuff to me, basically. And it's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Or there's so much money there. But you bring up benefit. I think that you
They
don't get
target
enough credit
you.
for this for like a version of Bernie Sanders that I hear pretty clearly.
And you may not experience it because you aren't an alpha like me, but they come after you.
I've never felt like you think that America should like stop where it is.
And I'm not holding it over your head. I'm just telling you like it is.
And just like, okay, we did it, everybody. We did America. Now let's just redistribute so that everybody has like a more equal share of the stuff that we have right now. I've never heard, like, people attribute that to you, and I never have heard it from you. You seem to be a guy who thinks that we need less inequality and also a lot of progress. That, like, those things are not mutually exclusive.
Hank.
We could do these things better.
But then the question is,
I don't like the fact that you didn't stop. You had to finish the point. Go back. Right? Bernie Sanders interrupts you and you don't shut up. Me, I would have went quiet. I'd be like, what? My point would have stopped right then and there. You're interrupting me to say what? And if you had no reason or validation to interrupt me, you would lose points. You would lose credibility. But if you had a merit for it, then the convo would continue.
Never heard, like, people attribute that to you, and I never have heard it from you. You seem to be a guy who thinks that we need less inequality and also a lot of progress. That, like, those things are not mutually exclusive.
Hank.
We could do these things better.
but then the question is, that's what I believe, let's have that debate about what is progress.
Yeah.
Progress,
Because some people think that progress is if it's not making
He's talking over Bernie Sanders. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
me a billionaire more likely to live forever, then that's not progress.
Or progress is
It is to them. That's the problem you're not understanding. You are too small-minded. You need me at the front. He is thinking of it that way because he can, right? And there are people that are putting in their corruption as well. They're tainting his process or system to make him make a decision. And
hey, the good news, we've developed a technology that can take away your job and the job of tens of millions of people.
Cool.
Wow, how progressive is that?
Well-
Unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen to the people who no longer have jobs or income. So having that discussion, what you're essentially saying, what kind of world do you want to live in?
There is a balance here, right? Like, if you banned lawnmowers and said everybody has to cut grass with scissors, there'd be a lot more jobs. That's not what we're going to do here. When we moved
Right.
from like longshoremen taking stuff at ports and putting it onto containers at the port from the truck, and then we just containerized everything so that the container arrived at the port, having already been filled at the warehouse. It cost those individual jobs of the people whose job was to take stuff off of trucks and put it onto boats. But once everything got containerized, there were more jobs because there was all way more efficiency, way more ability to ship things all over the place. You got to have the benefits of global trade.
You just move the focus. You lose this job, but you get this job. And when you're too afraid to move forward, that's when you have to pass the torch because life moves on.
So there are things here.
Whoa,
We don't need it.
Hank.
Now we're going to get into the benefits of global trade with Bernie Sanders, everybody.
What I'm saying is, we need a long.
So there are things here.
Whoa.
I don't like that.
All way more efficiency, way more ability to ship things all over the place. You got to have the benefits
There was an edit, by the way.
of global trade. So there are things here.
Whoa.
We don't need it.
Hank.
Now we're going to get into the benefits of global trade with Bernie Sanders, everybody.
What I'm saying is,
What the fuck was that, dude? Hank, what the hell? Like, fuck you, kid. Sit the fuck down, you fucking brat.
we need a long discussion. Maybe you and I agree, maybe we don't. What is human progress? Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos cannot be the people who define it for us.
And like the thing that I know that that really resonates with me, and I know that it feels a little bit.
I don't know why they can't be the ones to define it for us because we don't know enough to make that determination, Sanders.
Think just so a little too good to be true is like maybe we just go a little slower. Maybe the speed at which this transition has to happen doesn't have to be the speed at which OpenAI and Grok and Anthropic all together are like whatever speed we can go to beat each other. Maybe there is a different speed than that.
No, it's competition. You evolve, dude. Stop being a little bitch.
Hank, that is exactly the point. This did not get a whole lot of attention. But 3 years ago, just about 3 years ago, 1,000 leaders in the AI industry, including Elon Musk, by the way, signed the letter. And they essentially said, are you familiar with that letter?
Yeah, they're like, okay, everybody, let's slow down. And then
Right.
nobody
What they
did
said
even a
is,
little
look,
bit.
Right.
What they said is, hey, we are moving really fast. We're not quite sure where we are going, but it could be in a dangerous place. Slow it down. And then they said,
It doesn't matter, dude. The nuclear bomb happened because of progress. Shit can go sour quickly. It's not the technology that's the problem. It's the people who use it.
interestingly enough, if we don't slow it down, government should come in and demand a moratorium on
No.
development.
No.
Which is
Because that's dictatorship, Bernie Sanders. The fuck are you talking about?
what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and I have done. We have brought forth a moratorium on the construction of new data centers to basically not only protect people's communities, but also to slow down the process so we can get our hands.
For the communities, that's a valid point. Yes, we don't want a poisonous data center in the middle of the fucking town. Of course, fight for those rights. But as far as if they have a place and it won't harm anybody, leave them alone.
Around it and make sure that AI works for people, not just for billionaires.
It could be as simple as, you know, the speed with which this transition happens is in part.
I'm gonna be honest, I am very much losing interest in this convo because it seems very like underwhelming, basically. Like I'm talking to Hank Green and Bernie Sanders, and both of them seem to be not good enough.
The harm. If we can do it a little more slowly, not just government regulation can respond, but like the market can respond, the systems can respond. Instead of like jobs going away and not knowing what the
you want the old to expire and die off. That's natural. Stop trying to preserve every fucking thing in the world. That's not natural.
New jobs are. You give some time for the new jobs to arrive. Because I actually have some faith that the...
No, what you do is we don't need you anymore. So, because we don't need you anymore, we're going to pay you less, but you don't have to go to work anymore. So, if you're making $1,000 a week, for example, you would be given like $400 every week or $500 every week, right? Just because for like 2 years, for example, or 4 years, for example. And if you need, what's it called, the government can step in and say, okay, this place has AI step in, so you lost 10 workers. So what we do is you normally, let's say you had those 10 workers, so that's $10,000, right? So instead, what we're going to do is make you pay the government $5,000 so that the government can pay those people $500 a week for 2 years. That would happen, basically. That's the change. You don't have to pay for a worker, and he doesn't have to work. And the AI is gonna do it, and that's an answer, not the answer, but that's a solution. We can talk about numbers, and we can do more. Maybe they should get $900, or maybe they should get the full $1,000, or like the only difference would be is if your machine breaks. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to compensate. So I'm trying to be fair to both sides here. Trying to he lost his job, but he still has his income. But the machine broke. Well, that's okay because you're still making money because he's no longer working there and you're not paying him the full wage so you can pay for the repairs. And that would be for 2 years so he can learn how to fucking deliver a paper or wipe an old lady's ass and no longer needs this fucking job anymore. You understand?
Those that like the work of...
And then, just for the record, after those 2 years, you're not paying him anymore at all. And all of that money is saved just to keep the machine running.
Humans? It does feel to me like there is stuff... Like, I'm never going to want an AI to be my son's school teacher. I'm never going to want an AI to be my...
You want it helping the teacher, though.
My mother-in-law's oncologist.
I happen to agree with you. That's my feeling as well. But I am not sure that that is the attitude of the people who are now pushing this revolution.
Yeah, but like they're wrong about some of this stuff. Like you can say, oh, the kid will just learn from his...
I don't like how Hank keeps interrupting Sanders. Like, chill the fuck out, dude.
Digital Aristotle on his computer, but I don't want my son to learn math. I want my son to learn math and human relationships.
All right, you're making an enormously important point. You asked me at the beginning of the program.
AI won't replace the teacher. AI will just help the teacher.
What might...
Instead of teaching, like instead of one teacher teaching 30 students and then another teacher teaching 30 students, one teacher teaches 200 students. You know what I'm saying?
Concerns were, and I talked about a couple, but one more that I am worried about is right now there are millions of kids who are getting their emotional companionship from AI agents.
Because it's so...
Shut up, Hank! Shut up! I'm literally about to fucking end this. You won't stop. Shut up.
Easy. And and the incentives from the companies to be like, well, it's a customer. Well, if we make this relationship deep, then it will be valuable, and that value will be in dollars. And I'm like, my God. Are you twiddling your mustache in your lair right now? That's like nasty stuff.
Well,
No, for you it seems that way because you're a blue-tard. You know, a blue-tard? You're not thinking right. You're acting like he's a villain. He's just a businessman. Chill the fuck out, dude.
it is. I mean, it is. It's almost hard to put your mind around it. What does it mean?
It's because you're moving from where Bernie is to where Hank is. Hank is little Mr. fucking spoiled brat who's never been disciplined in his life. That's why he won't shut the fuck up. And he's trying to try to give you the solutions for the question. But the problem is, he's not being empathetic towards the environment around him. He's acting like the whole world lived how he lived. He is not acting like there's different class systems in the world.
If your kid is educated by AI,
Assistance. It's an assistant. You are taught by a teacher that was assisted by an AI. Why should that teacher have to go through all of the process of spell checking when he can have an AI do it? Right? And you have to write clearly so it can be read. And the AI will read it, and then the AI will autocorrect, and boom. I just finished everyone's homework in 5 minutes. It would have normally taken me 2 hours, and I did it in 5 fucking minutes. And that's what I'm telling you. And I'm still teaching.
becomes increasingly isolated from other human beings.
Yeah, we have to be
Shut up, Hank. Shut up.
careful with this. I mean, already we've seen it with parasocial relationships, with like algorithms delivering the most salient candy information content possible.
And Bernie Sanders, why the fuck are you not like, dude, Hank, chill. Let me explain a thought, dude. Like, I have yet to hear 100% of a thought from Bernie. It's always at 30% gets interrupted. At 30%, 40% gets interrupted. Like, chill the fuck out, Hank.
And then we personalize that and turn it into an entity that lives in a child's life. Is very.
And then what happens to that thought, by the way? It turns into a Disney movie with Hank. Fucking Mr. Nerd, Mr. Twirling a mustache. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? We're trying to just live our lives, dude. Chill the fuck out.
I mean, we have seen right now in this country, I mean, there are a lot of reasons for it. But some psychologists will tell you that screen time has contributed to loneliness and isolation and the inability of a lot of young people to relate to each other. These are issues that have got to be dealt with. And your point, we got to slow it down.
So let me ask you a couple of questions.
Do it again.
Number one.
I'm done. So anyways, fuck, dude. It's pissing me off because he won't stop. Every time Bernie gets going, Hank's like, interruption. It's pissing me off, man. Like, fuck.
One, you talk a lot about
One more.
regulatory capture. I think it's an insidious force. So like the idea that that an industry can sort of write its own regulations in such a way that protects that industry.
No.
You are dealing right now with a oligarchy, and I use that word advisedly, which is wealthier and more powerful than any ruling class in the history of our country. That's not an argument. They control the media, they control the economy, and they put huge amounts of money into the political system. They're very, very...
Now, this is a phrase that I have said for a long time to explain exactly what you're talking about. It's pay to win. That's what the world is right now. Pay to win. You can use that, Bernie Sanders.
Very powerful. And if you stand up to them, they will spend unlimited amounts of money to defeat you in a primary, Democratic primary, Republican primary. That is why, above and beyond AI, I work hard with other progressives to try to create a strong, progressive, working class, grassroots political movement in America, and we've had some success in doing that.
A very
Okay.
important, for my mindset, is that like oligarchy isn't a.
By the way, this was okay. Sanders completed a thought. Now you can start talking. So go ahead.
End state. It's a spectrum, and like you can be more and less oligarchic, and like it feels, as a person who's been alive for 45 years, like we're more that way than we once were. We could certainly be more that way than we are now, and that's up to the decisions of our lawmakers and of our voters, how far we go down that road. Because if you let people, if it's better for a business to buy access to the government and be protected that way than to create a great product and protect your success by making a great product, you will absolutely every time just give more money to the government to enforce your monopoly for you. They will
What the fuck are you talking about? No shit.
do that. Yes, and media is one of the first places that often happens, because media is something that people in government want to control, that a very strong president might want to control, and so he might in part help grant those monopolies.
You don't get out very much. You don't talk to many people because all you are doing is saying what Bernie Sanders said, but you are saying it in a way. You're used to talking down. You're used to being an educator, basically. You're trying to tell Sanders what he knows. And so you're just kind of wasting time right now talking about, yes, we know that's pay to win. That's pay to win. We know what's your point. And you're just explaining pay to win. That's all you're doing. Yes, of course, the person wants to cheat. What's your point? Stop talking about the dude that wants to cheat. We know you need a point.
Or give preferential regulatory status to people who are saying the kinds of things he likes them to say.
So that's why Bernie Sanders is like, right, yeah.
And the opposite for people who are saying things he doesn't like them to say.
Right.
So you see that happening.
No
Like,
shit.
we're sort of witnessing it in real time, and with our eyes kind of wide open to it, which is amazing
Okay.
to me. But when it comes to moratorium here, is there like a fear, is there a world where this is a kind of like soft passive regulatory capture, where you're kind of saying, hey, anybody who's already built a data center, if you've got these data centers, you can keep them, but anybody who wants to build anything new.
I don't think a moratorium is the end all. It's not the only solution. All it is one way to try to slow it down. There are other things that we can do. And by the way, this is clearly not just an American issue.
By the way, just real quick, I hate to interrupt, but what Hank just said, that's exactly why I'm against moratorium or whatever. Because people can use that to hold the world back. That was my point. You want the world to slow down. Why? So you can catch up? Fuck you, dude. Go faster or fucking sit down. Stop racing. The world doesn't slow down for you. The world still keeps going. You're trying to fuck us over. That's what the world has done. That's why America doesn't have flying cars yet. That's why we're still using oil, because they need everyone else to slow down. And then Elon Musk showed up and he forced people to get cars because he had the money or he had the whatever the fuck it was. Unfortunately, most Democrats didn't sign up with him. He ended up having to sign a deal with the Republicans, and he sold his fucking technology to them, so they all had their own fucking cars. That's why Chevy had the same car, the same Tesla car, but it's Chevy. And the same thing with all of the fucking Toyota, Honda, all of them. Basically, everything that was made in the market, he had to basically share the market. Tesla would have been number one, the only fucking people with electric cars, but because no one wanted to give him the ability to make the cars to sell unless he shared the profits, that was it. Anyways.
There are Chinese scientists who also worry about the existential threat to humanity. In a sane world, if we had a sane president, there would be discussions now with China and Europe about how we all go forward together to make sure that AI works for ordinary people, not just the very rich.
Can I hit you with a little bee I have in my bonnet? Which is, so electricity is going to be a bigger and bigger deal, both because of data centers, but also because we're electrifying a lot of other things, and we should, whether that's heat pumps in our homes or cars or etc. And the electricity system has to.
Again, that's because he talks to kids or less thans, so he's used to basically punching down, and he's explaining when he doesn't need to.
Be built for the moment of peak demand, which is very expensive to do because most moments, the vast majority of them, are not moments of peak demand. And these AI data centers certainly exist. They will continue to exist. And one of the nice potential things about them is that you can turn them off in a way that, like, if it is Texas and it is very hot, you cannot turn off people's air conditioners because they might die. And it might cost these data centers a lot of money because, of course, they invest a huge amount in their chips, and they want to run their chips 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that they can get the maximum return on them. But it seems to me that one of the things that we should be asking these companies is, hey, clearly you've got plenty of money, you're happy to spend it. How about we all agree that you should be able to turn off in those moments of peak demand so that we don't have to build the grid to satisfy the tremendous new additions that you are adding to the grid and then have everybody's power.
So you went from talking about holding the world back to we're limited and you're putting us in the red line. So the argument has changed from I can't keep up to society can't keep up. Okay? So what I'm going to tell you is that kind of makes sense. And that would be the common sense factor, where it's like, well, these are, what's it called? We don't necessarily need them to live our lives. And basically, it's like having, like, what do you want your power to go to? That guy's machine to keep his heart beating, or to make coffee? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, you want the power to go to the machine that's beating the heart, right? So that's what he's talking about. But again, because he's used to punching down and not talking to intellectuals, he has to explain it the way he is. So.
Or bills subsidizing those additions so that you can actually, instead of being a liability for the grid, you can become an asset to the grid by saying, hey, okay.
No, you're not an asset. It's just from being a burden to not being a burden.
In those moments of peak demand, there's a big user here that can turn it off because it's just going to cost money.
That's not an asset, you idiot.
It's not going to cost lives.
I agree with you, but I don't know that they will ever be an asset to the grid given
that exactly
the enormous amount of electricity
exactly
they consume. What you're saying is they're major consumers, and if at peak time...
I'm glad you caught it, Sanders. You are thinking high level good.
They slow it down a little bit, it will save people money on their electric bills, which is true. But to me, it's not only rising electric costs, it impact in certain communities on water, scarce water resources. It is noise pollution. It is the fact that a lot of these data centers and the electricity generated are run by fossil fuels, contributing to climate change, et cetera, et cetera.
But just as a thing, if you're going to be doing some regulation, and you have more sway than I do, that is a little bee I have in mind.
All right.
Because it's hard. It's hard. The grid is hard. We're trying to figure out the grid. So I made this video.
No, you are.
Where I talked about 18 of my AI fears, and then I mapped them out, and 13 of them kind of turned out to be basically the same fear, which was like we're giving away an awful lot of power here. This is the first thing that you mentioned when I asked you about your concerns about AI. In a world where we've got these 4 or 5 guys who, are in control of these large language models that are then.
They own them. They're not in control of them.
being used by a lot of people for a lot of things. Maybe they're typing in, "Hey, who should I vote for in my primary this year?"
That's already what's it called? Elon Musk purchased Twitter, and he then changed the platform to benefit Trump. That's why Trump won, is because of public interest, and they're just talking about him non-stop, free publicity, non-stop. Everyone loves Trump. Vote for him because it's common name, common word implication. That's what you're talking about. So continue.
This super freaks me out.
I don't know why.
But I don't know the better way to do it. Or should there be something that is? I have no idea, man.
Well, don't feel badly. Nobody does. But I mean, at the least where I am right now,
Yeah.
is I want, but
I have no idea, man.
well, don't feel badly. Nobody does. But
He opened something.
I mean, at the least where I am right now,
Hank, you're a blob.
Yeah.
is I want the Congress to step up to the plate on all of these issues. They can't sit back while this transformational revolution is taking place. And they've got to sit down and debate some of the issues that you and I are talking about. There may be honest differences of opinion, but you cannot let 4 or 5 of the wealthiest people in the world determine the future of humanity. It's not more complicated than that. Now,
They don't, they can't, and they never will. They're impacting it, yes, but we have ways to fix that. But the problem is you're stuck in your little world and you're not talking to people like me to show you how to fix it and to get the claws off of the free space and the free market. That crazy guy that we all know, like if you played Skyrim or Morrowind or whatever, and that dude is standing in the middle of town screaming, "Oh, the gods are coming and we all need to respect," and you remember that crazy dude? "Oh, the lady touched me," or whatever the fuck he's saying. We need to remove the ability for that person to talk to the whole fucking city. That's the problem. That guy in the center of town screaming about his balls or whatever should not have a fucking inbox of the whole town.
you and I and my Republican friends, whoever it may be, we may end up disagreeing, but that's fine. We owe it. That's what democracy is about. Where do we want to go? How do we, we didn't talk about the advantages of it.
There's only one way to go when it's what's it called? Good or bad, right? At the end of the day, good or bad. Democrats and Republicans will agree with something if it's good. Should we kill innocent people? No. Democrats and Republicans both say no. Duh. So that this argument that you're saying, it doesn't matter. The point is to bring it down to that level and then go up again. We can't make, like, you're trying to save a house on fire. Like, the whole house is on fire. At some point, you gotta bail on the house and get a new house, right? That's basically what it is. Now, as far as my metaphor isn't saying that we need a new government. What I'm saying is that we need to get rid of the people who control the government and make a new government using the same government. Basically, we need people aware, like they know now that Trump maybe shouldn't be in office. Get him the fuck out of office, dude.
I think AI is going to be very helpful in making medical diagnoses.
And I understand that we can't get him removed from office because of public sway. So what we need to do is change the public sway. You understand? That's where the fight should be. It shouldn't be about, oh, well, can you? Or no. Move from trying to cut their toenails to cut their neck. That's how I used to play When I was younger and I used to play Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, StarCraft, and all that shit, what I would do is go for the throat. And basically, I won. I became a top player because that's what I would do. You would fuck around, I'd fucking kill you while you're trying to build up until late game. And the problem was you had no early game, and I punished you for it every fucking time. I know I didn't get much practice with late game because most people couldn't last through early game. It was when they decided to remove early game that I quit because that made no sense. How can you have a game without an early game? Basically, all you're doing is saying, we want a game where people can watch and we can talk and make money. The competition is not there anymore. That's what, anyways.
Making new prescription drugs. I'm told maybe helping us with climate change. All of that's great. How do we utilize it so that it benefits people? Not how.
No. Change the focus, not to benefit people. First, we need to worry about how to not make it cost people.
It consolidates power in the hands of the few and throws millions of people out on the street because they lost their jobs.
Sometimes.
Right.
This is a weird place to end because I know that we don't have much more time, but they're spending $700 billion on data centers this year, or some crazy number like that. And I think to myself, if we spent $700 billion on housing this year, that would be a really big win. But clearly, no one can figure out how to spend $700 billion on housing in a way that makes money.
Well, I don't know. You need to spend.
No, the problem is the messaging. It's there. It's just that no one wants to fucking talk. Because people like you talk about shit that doesn't matter versus shit that does. What I'm telling you is to worry about shit. For example, you're right. They're spending 700 billion on data centers. Imagine if they did it for the housing. If they made it for the housing. Imagine if the government was like, "Hey, we're gonna pay this amount of money, make it happen. Oh, by the way, make sure you do it right because we're gonna audit it." Right after, we're gonna find the best auditors to go and check the houses and make sure they're good. And then once they're confirmed to good, then you get your money, right? That's how it would work, and keep it honest. The reason why it's not working is because of corruption. There's corruption everywhere. How can I screw this over? It's because the fake it till you make it. That whole generation, they pretend to be lovers and then they fucking walk away the second you get pregnant. That's what it is.
700 billion, by the way, in housing.
Yeah.
We could solve the housing crisis for a lot less than that. But the issue that
Tell me how, Senator Sanders.
No, sure.
All right, the issue that you're raising is what are our national priorities? So it's not only 700 billion on data centers, it's $1 trillion on the military, okay? So that we can go to war in Iran. Meanwhile, we are the richest country in the history of the world. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty and senior poverty.
It's corruption, bro.
Of almost any major country. We're the only major country not to guarantee health care to all. We've got a housing crisis, etc., etc. So, bottom line here is we need a government that works for all of the people, not just wealthy campaign contributors. And that's called a political revolution. We got to bring people into the political process and elect people who speak for them and hold those people accountable.
I think that we can have an America that does great things.
I think so too.
I think that we do, to some extent, have an America that does great things, and I think that we can. I think that we can have that. I see maybe different visions of how we're going to move forward, but
I think I'm done. Anyways, that's it. Be well, be happy, be safe, take care, be loved. God bless, Godspeed. Praise be to Allah, praise be to Yevon, the Final Fantasy X God. Keep it happy, keep it safe, keep it smiling, share the wealth, share the life, share the love. Extend ladders. Don't retract, expand. We shouldn't have starving people in the world. Meanwhile, we're having fat robots, right? Anyways, that's it. So take care, be loved, and don't let the door hit you where the Lord split you. Peace. And by the way, I would keep it going, but no one said anything. There's no questions. So I'm done. This topic seems pretty dead. Dead in the water.
But I do think that we're going to move forward. And I think we got to figure it out. We got to figure it out in a way, because it's a democracy. So we have to figure it out in a way that where everybody benefits.
Shut up.
That's right. And we've got to preserve
Go.
democracy
Touch grass, Hank. Touch grass.
against the authoritarian trend that wants to destroy American democracy.
Senator Sanders, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care.
Thanks to Senator Sanders for coming on and chatting with me. I do feel like I could have done a better job at moments, but we're learning. Having edited that video.
Stop saying we. It's you. You're learning. You could have done a better job. When you say we, you're doing what they do, and you're passing off all of the problems to everyone else. But when it's success, you're like, yeah, I won. Yeah, I'm the best. Oh man, I wish we handled that a bit better. No, stop it.
Video, I can identify a few things that I would have done differently, but that's how we learn. Is we look at the tape and we say, here's how I could have got the most out of the only 30 minutes I did with Bernie Sanders this year. But anyway, moving on. Let's look at how this Connections is going. Share olives, mallet hop.
Why the fuck would I want to watch it play Connections? Alright, that's it. I'm done. Be well, be happy, be safe, God bless, take care, be loved. And share the wealth, share life, share the love, and don't let the joy hit you where the Lord split you in peace. Okay. Wait. Yeah. What? Oh, never mind. Okay. So the recording's done. It looks like there's nothing from me here, so the stream is about to be done too. So take care, guys. I'm out here. Be happy, be well, be safe, and yeah, don't let the door hit you or the Lord split you. And